Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 92. Again, giving you an insight of what's to come ahead and compare our analysis from last week as well. So we have been actually starting off, we are going to start off with gold, but we've been pretty much going through the week, making some updates with EURUSD and gold. I just really wanted to get a bit more focus with that pair. So what you probably will see more of is maybe just some little updates along the week. But yeah, I'll try and do a bit more of other pairs as well. So hopefully that can give you some more trading ideas through the week. So we will start off with gold. So yeah, what we looked at last week was pretty much a potential shift towards the downside. And as we had that break of structure towards the upside during last week, we pretty much saw this rapid pace of price action. So as we started to see that happen, I think that what we needed to do then was to look at some sort of buying option. And I think obviously the best way we could have done it was to wait for a retracement. So now that prices pretty much fell, we've got this 1750 barrier. So as long as we stay above this zone, I believe we should be pushing up higher still. So that's essentially what this analysis was here on our last video that we made for gold. So pretty much it's probably going to still stand true for now. Again, at least anticipating the 1800s. And I'm looking for price to possibly reach 1840. So I think inevitably we need to just wait for price to probably turn over within this area here and see if we can actually reach into the highs. So that's where my focus is for gold. And again, this bias remains valid if we stay above the 1750 zone. Okay, so we'll move on now to EURUSD. So again, we've got multiple annotations here. It's not really that complex as it is. We basically created some different scenarios, and as we went through the week, we pretty much made some updates. So essentially what we last spoke about here was the possibility of price breaking the 1.158 zone into 1.16. so we're pretty much hovering around this now. So what my intention is right now is pretty much to wait for some sort of fall. So whether price does fall here or continues to go up higher, that's perfectly fine. Essentially what we're trying to do is just find a kind of the higher low that's going to be potentially forming in the anticipation of price to push higher. And we're going to first look at 1.165 as a target, so this pretty much this zone here, and we want to basically break that and push higher. And this, I think this could, like I said, if you have been following the EURUSD videos, we're on the higher time frames. I'm looking for price to reach all the way back up to 1.23, which is not even there. It's all the way up here. So again, we've got a lot of distance to cover, but again, I'm not going to disregard any of the lower time frames, such as the 4-hour, I think as we're using that to make our way and slowly shift towards the upside. So maybe this will be a push that completely goes into 1.235. Maybe it only goes to maybe let's say 1.17 and then turns down. But again, hopefully you can engage what I'm trying to say here, that we're not going to be taking trades and holding it all the way up. We're just going to look for our profit entries and go in and out the market, and pretty much take advantage of what opportunities are ahead for the current week. So essentially just to wrap that up, then we're going to wait for some sort of retracement, and we're going to try find some sort of turnover here before we can get price over here. So essentially this bias towards the upside will remain valid unless we break 1.52. And again, that's still a possibility, and if that does happen, then we'll probably have to come back with another analysis video. Okay, so I can get rid of these two, and again, this is pretty much what we're looking out for. Even if price does push up a bit higher, again, there could be that little push in the market where we can get in. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. So looking at NZDUSD, so for this pair, we actually have been anticipating the potential move of the sell-off opportunity, but obviously we can see that really hasn't happened. So what I'm looking to move on to now, we can still well, we might as well just get rid of this, and then if anything happens, we can always do an update video through the week, so that's perfectly fine. So essentially what we're seeing is, I wasn't necessarily expecting this much of a push towards the upside, but because it is pretty much close to this high, it could give the possibility that we are potentially shifting upwards now, and that adds to the confluence of this shift that we're looking on the higher time frames, where we're potentially pushing higher. So I'm not looking for anything crazily massive after the next week, but we're just essentially looking for some buying opportunities to see if we can, break this high here. So at 0.715 around here, just put that around here. So if we can break into this zone, that could be a nice significant move. But what we may also run into is price potentially rejecting and pushing lower. So again, we don't need to consider that as, oh, we should only look for sales. No, we should look for buys for now, and if price gets into here, just be cautious and just be aware that there is a potential sell-off opportunity that that could come from this area of the market here. Okay, so we could get rejection, but again, this is probably something I'm going to keep in my mind, and if we can get in, we can look at some take profits along the way. Well, tightening our stop losses, etc. Okay, so moving on to AUDUSD, it's pretty much the same bias really. I think through the week we were expecting price to pretty much drop off. Not necessarily, it's finding that, but again, I am still kind of looking, excuse me, I'm still kind of looking for some sell-off opportunities still as a possibility. So, we can, look at something like this, but again, it's pretty much from this 0.745 zone. So let me get rid of this now, or shift this to the side. I think it's pretty much done now. Move it here. So we're pretty much playing within this level here, 0.745. I think that if we can break through this, then this will be, pretty much a no-brainer that we're going to be waiting for a retest trade. And again, this is the perfect thing about it, that the fact that if price does break above this, that's fine, because we know that then we're going to wait for some sort of retest, and that's where we can look at our entry to continue the move to upside. But if we start to notice any rejections, we know that in our plan that this could possibly happen, and it could break the lows into into 0.72, which is a massive drop, which we did speak about last week, but it's something that I'm just being cautious and aware of. So definitely make sure you're keeping your eyes peeled for this range, well, this level here, and we'll see what's to come from it. So let's move on now to USDJPY. So with USDJPY, we were looking at essentially this zone here, I believe, well, roughly at this level here that we got marked out. And essentially what I was expecting was a possibility of turning over, but now that price has clearly just been pushing and pushing, we didn't even get any form of rejection here at all. So what we could expect is price to fall down in some sort of retesting manner, and essentially that's all we're going to look out for. So again, it's up to you guys if you want to take a counter trend, and I still think that is still a valid trade to take. It just depends when the market will turn over with you guys. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna keep a watch for any sort of rejections that force the downside, and then we can take some trades along the way to the sell side as a short-term bias. Okay, so yeah, just looking at something like that right now. CADJpy, again, we can see prices clearly rallying towards the upside. I think essentially what I'm going to be doing is essentially waiting for some sort of retest to form, and again, that's what we were speaking about. So essentially similar sort of bias where we could look at a counter trend trade while we wait for the high time frame or the long-term buys. It's pretty much what the market wants to do. So technically this is just going to be a waiting game in my eyes. So yeah. Okay, so EURJpy, huge run this week. I personally wasn't expecting this much of a run, but essentially what I was noticing here was that we did have this bullish market here, and I was essentially just waiting for any form of retest to get in. And yeah, as we can see, we've clearly taken off. So all we need to do again is pretty much that same similar thing. Just need to wait for some sort of retest for price to continue. And I'm not only going to look that high, but I'm just going to look at that zone there at 1.34. You can get rid of this bias now of the sell side. I think it's fair to say that we're pushing higher. So let's just see what we can come through. 1 second. Let me just check my notes. One second. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine then. Yeah, I didn't miss anything. Sorry about that. Just checking something out. So yeah, so let's take a look at NZDJPY. So what we were anticipating here, I think this was a perfectly nice trade, and can't believe we missed this. But anyway, is what it is. I think it was earlier in the morning or something. I don't know why I missed this, but essentially that would have been your perfect opportunity to smash that through all the way towards the upside. So anyway, we can get rid of this now, and we can focus on what the market is doing right now. And yeah, essentially what we were possibly anticipating was for price to get into this range, and we were going to wait for any type of reaction, any sort of type of rejection. Nothing really happened here. We can see clear price move towards the upside, absolute drive. So now then, what does that mean for us in the market, for in particular this pair? So essentially we're just going to wait for, again, this retest in market, and it's going to be the same, where we're going to possibly look at some counter trend and also some pro trend trades as well. So that's the essential bias. Obviously this will take time for this to exhaust, so this could still push higher, etc. So just keep yourself mindful of that. AUDJPY, I think, yeah, pretty much we're doing a similar sort of thing. We marked out that we're just waiting for some sort of retest to occur. Again, this is still pushing up higher, so clearly, you know, any trend traders who are you know, trade in that kind of manner, you know, they're really taking advantage of the market what's presenting right now, because obviously this week has been huge. So yeah, we're just essentially just waiting for price to make a little dip. And again, you can also look at taking a slight counter trend, but just be focused on the higher time frame that we are pushing up higher. So just be mindful. So coming to the last two pairs, USDCHF. So this has been quite something, you know, very choppy. Something needs to happen here. We're just clearly waiting for some sort of drop. So what I think is happening, I think it's pretty much this scenario here, because what we first looked at was a price move towards the upside, in which we could look at price breaking up here. But I think what could happen is something like this, where we get price to either push just a little bit lower, or this could be the low right now, and price to push up. So whether that price, you know, let's just move it here so it looks a bit more cleaner. So whether that price, you know, pushes down once more and then pushes up, you know, this is what I'm kind of looking at. And again, we're looking to basically come into these lows here, into 0.9 as our target potential level. And yeah, we're waiting for price to pretty much map out something like this. Again, price could easily rally towards the upside, so don't forget about that. If we fail to see any rejections, that means we're not going to take any sells. But likewise, if we see any bullish pressures in the market, we're going to try and anticipate some nice entries to the upside. So definitely keep an eye out for that one. USDCAD, again, essentially I'm looking for this setup here. We can see price pushing low, making its low still. I think we still haven't had that push higher that we anticipated last week. So I'm just going to now move this just a bit lower to see if this can still occur. So I'm going to try and look out for maybe some buy opportunities, who knows. But there is a counter trend trade available, but we are still possibly looking for those sells to the downside still, and then a possible switch. But again, this is, you don't really need to look at that right now. Like, this is the pretty much the focus of where we are right now, is pretty much looking for this push up for this week. Okay, So yeah, pretty much ran through the market this week. Wasn't anything that I wanted to kind of ramble on about. I'm trying to make it a bit more concise. So obviously I hope you do enjoy the video. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, I do appreciate your time for listening. We do have a trading group that you can join. That link is in the description, guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, guys, so thank you all, and we'll see you all in our next week's video.